Commerce Alive Today presents
Tupperware. Company founder Earl Tupper was an early plastics pioneer. The young inventor found work at DuPont in the 1930s without the benefit of a college education. By 1938, Tupper was ready to strike out on his own and devote himself to research in plastics. That year he started his own company, leaving DuPont with only his experience and a discarded piece of polyethylene, remains from the oil refining process that no one had yet manipulated into a practical form. Tupper's fledgling company kept afloat by making plastic parts for gas masks in World War II, although Tupper continued to pursue his research with polyethylene. Tupper modified his own refining process, searching for more useful and appealing forms of plastic. By 1942, Tupper had developed a plastic that was both durable and safe for food storage. The lightweight, flexible, and unbreakable material was also clear, odorless, and non-toxic. Tupper dubbed the new material Poly-T, and he further refined the product over the next few years. In 1946 he founded a new company, Tupperware, and began manufacturing food storage and serving containers with Poly-T. The containers were enhanced the following year with the unique Tupperware seal, an innovation that consumers would still find useful more than 50 years later. Tupper had gotten the idea for the airtight seal from a paint can lid. Although Tupper quickly found department and hardware stores to carry his product, customers were harder to come by. Consumers were unfamiliar with the benefits of the new material and did not know how to operate the seal. Sales finally took off in the late 1940s when a few direct sellers of Stanley Home products added Tupperware to their demonstrations. The products flourished with the direct selling approach because salespeople could explain the benefits of the plastic and personally demonstrate the seal to consumers. In addition, Stanley Home product salespeople did not sell door-to-door, but rather sold their products at home parties. This method was particularly suited to Tupperware sales because homemakers felt they were getting advice from other homemakers who actually used the products. The most successful early direct seller of Tupperware was Brownie Wise, a Detroit secretary and single mother. Tupper hired her in 1951 to create a direct selling system for his company. Within a few months Tupper had established the subsidiary Tupperware Home Parties Incorporated and had abandoned selling his products through retail stores. Wise's home party system used a sales force of independent consultants who earned a flat percentage of the goods they sold and won incentives in the form of bonuses and products. Wise, together with Gary McDonald, another Stanley veteran, created the Tupperware Jubilee, an annual sales convention that became famous and provided a format for the conventions of numerous direct selling companies. Sales skyrocketed, multiplying 25 times within 3 years. By the late 1950s, Tupperware had become a household name. With almost no advertising, Tupperware had created phenomenal brand awareness. The company's rapid success can be attributed to its recruitment of almost 9,000 independent consultants by 1954, most of them women, and their enthusiastic spread of Tupperware parties. Tupperware home parties provided an easy entree into the workforce for women. Able to schedule the parties around their home and family responsibilities, women could earn extra cash and get together with friends and neighbors at the same time. In addition, the home party plan provided a milieu in which women were trusted as salespeople, unlike door-to-door sales, where women were not accepted at the time. In 1958, Wise resigned from her vice president position and Tupper sold the company to Rexall Drug. Despite the change in management, the company continued to thrive. Throughout the 1960s and 1970s, sales and earnings doubled every 5 years. The company had grown not only in the United States but also had entered and thrived in several foreign countries. Tupperware's first venture outside the United States was to Canada in 1958. Tupperware parties were soon being thrown in Latin America, Western Europe, and Japan. International sales became a significant source of revenue for Tupperware in the 1970s, and Rexall Drug, which had become Dart Industries, had changed the subsidiary's name to Tupperware International. Sales exceeded the $500 million mark in 1976. 4 years later, Dart Industries and Kraft Incorporated merged, and the newly formed company looked to subsidiary Tupperware International to fuel its growth. Tupperware's growth slowed in the early 1980s, however, and by 1983 the subsidiary had cut 7% from its sales and lost 15% from its earnings. Several factors contributed to the slip in sales and earnings. Competition had increased from Rubbermaid Incorporated, Eagle Affiliates, and other retail companies. In addition, an economic recovery had allowed many part-time salespeople to find full-time work elsewhere, and the movement of women into the workforce had dried up the company's source for part-time labor and limited the time many women had to attend parties. The company exacerbated the labor problem, however, by not enticing people with higher commissions and by lowering the quality of their bonus prizes. Sales continued to fall, slipping 6% in 1984, from $827 million to $777 million. Even worse, earnings plummeted 27% to $139 million. The following year was no better. Sales dropped to $762 million and earnings declined to a mere $96 million. Tupperware finally took action, bringing in a new management team in 1985. K. Douglas Martin took over as president of Tupperware USA, and Dart and Kraft moved William L. Jackson from the company's Duracell battery division to the chairmanship of Tupperware. Having made significant improvements in the Duracell division, Jackson was expected to help turn Tupperware around. Jackson immediately made several changes. To bolster slipping party attendance, he loosened the rules governing parties and allowed adaptations to the parties that would appeal to working women, such as shorter parties and parties thrown at the workplace. In addition, Jackson worked to improve Tupperware's training of its salespeople and eliminated any bonuses and sales incentives that appeared ineffective. Over the next couple of years, Jackson instituted further changes. The company introduced its first catalog, which was sent out only in response to requests made to its toll-free number. In addition, national print and television advertising was stepped up to help counteract competition from Rubbermaid and other retail product lines. To improve the company's delivery speed, Tupperware built several new warehouses in a large distribution center. New products in the mid-1980s helped boost both sales and company morale. In 1985, Tupperware introduced Ultra 21, a line of cookware to which market research had shown consumers would respond favorably. The company's new microwave cookware did very well and by 1987 had shown significant growth. Other products, including the company's traditional storage containers, struggled merely to maintain their sales figures. In 1986, Dart and Kraft reversed their ill-fated merger. Dart renamed itself Primark International Incorporated, and former Kraft president Warren Batts took over as chair and chief executive officer. Tupperware apparently responded well to the change. Although the subsidiary posted a $58 million loss in 1986, its profits rose 48% in 1987. Progress at Tupperware was uneven over the next several years. Sales in the United States continued to decline, although international business grew steadily. As a result, the proportion of U.S. to international sales gradually shifted until international sales accounted for more than half the company's revenues in 1992. That year, Tupperware's operations in the United States reported a loss of $22 million. In another management shift, Rick Goings, executive at direct sales leader Avon, took over as president of Tupperware in 1992. In an effort to halt the decline in U.S. earnings, Tupperware cut costs and stepped up its sales force recruiting efforts. In addition, the company moved into direct mail, for the first time sending out unsolicited catalogs in 1992. Sales representatives provided names and addresses and paid Tupperware 65 cents for each catalog sent to one of their customers. Catalog customers then bought directly from their sales representatives. The company saw the catalog as yet another way to entice busy working women back into the Tupperware fold. In 1993, the company was again enjoying profits in the United States, with earnings that year at $12.5 million. Sales also continued to grow internationally, helping improve the company's image on Wall Street. Shares of Primark International rose from $48 at the beginning of 1993 to $88 at the end of the year, due in large part to Tupperware's recovery. Overall sales continued to improve in the mid-1990s, in part fueled by massive product introductions. Tupperware brought out approximately 100 new products between 1994 and 1996, including entire new product lines and specialty items catering to particular needs internationally, such as kimono keepers in Japan. As had been the case for the last decade, international sales growth outstripped that in the United States. Sales in the Far East and Latin America boomed, while sales in the United States improved slowly. As a result, by 1996, Tupperware relied on international business for 85% of its revenues and 95% of its profits. Tupperware's finances continued to improve. By 1996, sales had reached $1.4 billion with earnings of $235 million. Primark International's food equipment and decorative product businesses were not faring quite as well. $2.2 billion in sales resulted in $168 million in earnings. Primark shares were trading well below competitors as a result, and management felt Tupperware was being held back by the company's other businesses. Consequently, in May 1996, Primark International spun off Tupperware, making it an independent public company. Primark shareholders received 1 share of Tupperware stock for each Primark share they held. Wall Street responded positively to the spin-off. Tupperware shares began trading at $42 and soon rose to $55. Certain analysts sang the company's praises, including David Bazar, who told Financial World, "There is a perception of higher quality with Tupperware as well as the multifunctionality of the products, and also the nature of the distribution." He felt that the long-term prospects for the newly independent company were good. The steady improvement in sales and earnings in the mid-1990s faltered in 1997. Revenues declined from a high of $1.37 billion in 1996 to $1.23 billion in 1997. Earnings plummeted 53%, from $175 million in 1996 to $82 million in 1997. Several factors had contributed to the decline. Domestically, a change in the company's sales plan led to a loss in its vital sales force. Quite a few sales representatives left Tupperware when the company raised the level of sales needed to qualify for a company minivan. Tupperware later renewed its recruiting efforts by offering subcompact company cars to sales representatives. Internationally, the Asian economic crisis significantly affected Tupperware's performance, which relied on Japan alone for 12% of its sales in 1996. In addition, a third-party vendor delayed Tupperware's delivery of products to its Japanese sales representatives, causing a major customer service problem. Although sales in the Far East continued to decline as the economic crisis there deepened, Tupperware hoped its expansion into India, Russia, and China in 1997 would offset the loss in sales. In 1997, Tupperware experienced further discord with some of its U.S. consultants when it began enforcing a company policy prohibiting the sale of Tupperware online. The company's crackdown included cutting off from their distributors consultants who refused to shut down their websites. Consultants with websites resented the intrusion into how they ran their businesses, for as independent franchise owners, Tupperware consultants are not employees. By early 1998, however, only 6 websites remained in operation from a high of almost 100 in 1996. Lori Hall, Director of External Affairs at Tupperware, explained the policy to Fortune. "We believe that the product demonstration and customer services that our consultants offer face-to-face can't be adequately provided in an internet environment." The following year, in a complete about-face from that position, Tupperware announced plans to sell merchandise over its own corporate website. Sales and earnings fell further in 1998. Revenues declined to $1.1 billion, a 21% decline since the company was divested from Primark 2 years earlier. Net income fell to $69 million, the company's lowest profit since its loss in 1992. Further erosion of the company's independent sales force in the United States was responsible in part for the decline in domestic sales. Internationally, slipping sales in Latin America and Japan pose the greatest threat to overall growth. In the late 1990s, Tupperware pursued several strategies to combat persistent declines in sales in the United States. Diversifying its distribution channels was one strategy. Tupperware had plans for selling over the internet, through television infomercials, and at shopping mall kiosks. Diversifying its product line was another. Throughout the middle to late 1990s, Tupperware had been expanding into new product areas, including kitchen tools, small kitchen appliances, and children's products. Tupperware introduced a new sales technique in April 1998 with the demo in a box. Consultants can purchase these boxes that come completely outfitted with recipes, apron, invitation inserts, video and audio training tapes, etc. Internationally, Tupperware continued to move into new geographic areas and to expand its independent sales force. Although some analysts saw hope in the company's move into more traditional retail venues, overall confidence on Wall Street was low, as evidenced by the 63% decline in the company's stock price between 1997 and 1999. However, new products are introduced each month along with hostess incentives to keep interest high for customers to host/attend frequent parties, and customer loyalty remains strong to the early 2000s. In 2003, Tupperware closed down operations in the UK and Ireland, citing customer dissatisfaction with their direct sales model. The company relaunched in the UK in mid-2011 and recruited UK staff, but in December the relaunch was cancelled. As of 2007, Tupperware was sold by means of approximately 1.9 million direct salespeople on contract. In May 2018, the Israeli daily The Marker reported that Tupperware will withdraw from Israel, leaving 2,000 agents without a job. Tupperware Israel relaunched in December 2020 as an online shop. In March 2021, Tupperware closed down operations in the Netherlands. In August 2022, Tupperware announced it would be leaving the New Zealand market in late 2022. On November 2, 2022, after publishing quarterly results, the company said its inability to maintain compliance with its credit agreement raises substantial doubt about its ability to continue as a going concern. The stock value dropped more than 40%. In April 2023, the company warned that there is substantial doubt about the company's ability to continue as a going concern. The stock price dropped almost 50% on the same day. On April 11, 2023, Tupperware's stock value plummeted to $1.30. Although there was a slight recovery the following day, its sliding sales and increasing debt prompted warnings of permanent company closure unless it receives substantial investment. As of April 2023, Tupperware has 82 countries listed as places they trade. In May 2023, a financially ailing Tupperware signed on Moelis & Company to explore various available strategic options, as it also detected inconsistencies in its prior period's financial reportings. On June 1, 2023, Tupperware stopped supplying an independent sales force in the UK and Ireland and moved fully to selling online and via the shopping TV channel Ideal World, shortly before Ideal World itself went out of business in early July 2023. On June 14, 2024, Tupperware announced that it would close its last remaining U.S. manufacturing plant in Hemingway, South Carolina, and shift production to their plant in Lerma in Mexico, with the closure to be completed in January 2025. On September 16, 2024, Tupperware Brands Corporation announced that they were preparing to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection later in the week after a failed comeback after beneficial sales during the COVID-19 pandemic. The company's stock fell nearly 60% after the announcement. On September 18, Tupperware Brands filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, with plans to continue operating during the proceedings.
Meats keep meatier, beats keep beatier, chips keep chippier, dips keep dippier. Tupperware freshness, that's our promise. Look at at all the ways we keep it.
Come to a Tupperware party and see all the new ways you can lock in freshness.
Beets, greens, cheese, teas, potato, tomato, salami, pastrami. Jams keep jammier, hams keep hammier, cakes keep cakier, flakes keep flakier. Tupperware freshness, that's our promise. Look at all the ways we keep it.
If you have any fond memories, please indicate it at the comments below. Thanks for watching, subscribe, and like.